So Hunter S. Thompson famously would hand copy Hemingway stories and passages. And the reason he did it, he said, was not because he wanted to write in the style of Ernest Hemingway, but he wanted to feel what it was like to write so eloquently, so powerfully, to install some of that prowess into his DNA. And so, as freelance copywriters, we've adopted that concept. It's called rote learning. And it's proven that by handwriting great sales letters, it's a great way to get our brains to recognize what good copy looks and feels like when you're writing it. And so lots of freelancers like to brag about all the hand cramping effort that they put into writing out these great sales letters. And again, a very valid exercise. However, there's a second part to the equation that it's possible many are overlooking. And I wrote once to Gary Bencivenga, the legendary copywriter, about a letter that I had just read of his and responded to. He sold me a ham when I was a broke, starting out freelancer, could not afford $100 half a ham, but Gary's letter was so eloquent and so exciting that I had no choice but to buy this ham. And so I wrote to Gary, and not even expecting to hear back from him or that my letter would reach him, and it told him the story and asked him, if in fact you do read this, could you help me understand what you just did to me? You know, how did you viscerally move me through your words to stop what I was doing, read about a ham, and excitedly purchase a ham that I couldn't afford, and now greatly anticipate its arrival into my life. And he wrote back to me, which was shocking then, but now that I've had the privilege to know Gary a little bit, it's not surprising at all that he was so generous. And what Gary wrote to me is the key to the second part of hand copying great sales letters to make it really powerful for you. And he said to me, it's not magic, and you can achieve it. And the key is to read a great control sales letter every day, and not just read it, but as you're reading it, have the one question in your mind at all times: what's one thing I could do to improve this copy? What's one thing I could add or tweak or change that I think might make this ad work even better than it did? And the reason that's so powerful and critical to add into the mix of your study is that you need to develop your own thinking around what makes copy effective. And it's not something you'll just wake up with one day. And it's not something that will happen simply by copying other people's work by hand. You may never know what thought process went into those words ending up on a page that you're now hand copying. And so to really make it a powerful exercise, take Gary's advice, and as you're handwriting these letters and reading them every day, always be thinking, what's the one thing, if I could only choose one thing, what would I change on this letter that I think would make it convert even better? And sure, you may never get to test it on that exact product, but how powerful is it to develop that critical thinking around what you personally bring to the process of salesmanship in print. Hope that helps you, and go kick ass.